Chapter 123a, Guthunder vs. the Shield of Sanctuary. Subaru, got it? In total there are 4 people in the mansion we have to save. They're all girls. Inside the carriage, Subaru raises 4 fingers as he explains. The scenery flows by as they speed along the rugged road. But even so, no wind or jolting assaults their carriage. While vaguely finding it a mystifying sensation no matter how many times he experiences, Subaru nods to the 2 people looking at his raised fingers. Subaru, first is Frederica. Our buddy Garfield's older sister. Saying the attacker's already there, Frederica's the only one who could buy us any time. Garfield, sis, HRN. Ain't seen her for 10 years now. Looking uneasy, Garfield scratches at his short, blonde hair. Garfield had been so stubborn about staying in Sanctuary. It's going to be hard for him to face Frederica, who had abandoned Sanctuary for the outside world. Otto. You truly have not seen her in a decade? From the Margrave and Ramsand's accounts, it sounds as though they traveled between the mansion and Sanctuary rather frequently. Garfield, it would been awkward fair sis too. She never came along with that asshole Roswell. SH did send a bunch of letters though, apparently. Otto, apparently? Garfield, gave them all to Granny without reading them. Garfield averts his gaze, looking sulky. His awkward attitude toward his sister is exactly that of a child. Their reunion is definitely going to be an emotional one. Subaru sighs. Otto's impression of all this looks to be about the same as his as he pulls the reins. Otto, then the second would be Petrichan. Subaru, yeah. Roswell Mansion's precocious and hopeful new maid Petra's the second. She's a completely ordinary village girl with no underside at all, so if she gets targeted it's 100% bad. The attacks on Roswell Mansion so far have ended in dead Petras 100% of the time. The other 3 are also highly likely to die, but Petra has no means to fight back at all. So it's common that she gets dealt with quickly. If they're going to protect her, they will need to find her immediately. Subaru, next is REM. She's Ram's younger sister. Though you probably don't remember her. Garfield, am still in disbelief about it, Captain. Just the idea of Ram having an identical twin sister. How hell could I forget that, when my amazing self's known her such a long time? Subaru, it's a curse where even Ram's forgotten her. Talking about ways to deal with that's gonna be a change in topic, but, anyway, Rem's not so urgent. The assassin attacking the mansion, Elsa, doesn't have REM on her list of targets. I don't think her employer knew about Rem's existence when they hired her. Otto, although, should she discover REM-san sleeping in the mansion, I doubt the encounter will end peacefully. Subaru, you're right about that. We're talking about Elsa here. REM might not be on her commissioner's list, but if she discovers her, she'll probably do something just for kicks. And while Subaru hasn't seen it himself, REM has been killed during these loops. All he can do is pray that REM is not in a room that Elsa just happens to open. Otto, regardless, this dependence on the opponent's decisions can't be called an overly great strategy. Subaru, where I'm depending on you guys, and also depending on the enemy. This is not Suki Subaru's brand of warfare, dubbed Reverse Furinkazan. Garfield, so cool. Garfield clenches his fists, eyes sparkling. That his random bullshit statement has given Garfield such expectations makes even Subaru feel guilty. He decides that later, when they have real time for it, he will teach Garfield about actual Furinkazan. He furrows his brows as he looks at Garfield. Subaru though. Subaru, I mean it's been horrifying watching this, but is this actually seriously working? Garfield, well we're in a rush, ain't we? If there were any better way, my amazing self'd go for that instead. Says Garfield, looking displeased. His words are sensible ones, but Subaru's statement is truly inevitable. For Garfield is presently outside the carriage, holding on to the thing, while talking with Subaru and Otto through the window. His hands clutch the window frame as he dangles there, hanging alongside the zooming carriage with his feet brushing across the ground, getting dragged along by the vehicle. Subaru has seen an enemy get mashed in a carriage's wheels before, and being that this could easily be a repeat if Garfield's hands slip, he can't watch on very peacefully. Subaru, if something goes wrong and you get smushed, it's no holds barred on my PTSD, and we also stop having anything we can do about the mansion. Garfield, hell, Captain. Bein' a damn worrywart. Everything's all fine. Just watch this. And fizzin' this. And this. Subaru, stop. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die before you do. With the window frame as the pivot, Garfield starts spinning round and round using just his arm strength. Between the windbreaker blessing and Garfield's inhuman grip, these acrobatics are possible. And his hold on the frame is so strong that the thing warps and creaks. Subaru can imagine the pending despair of the carriage's owner, which is to say Otto. Otto, his EARTHSOUL blessing doesn't come into effect unless his feet are touching the ground. Since we need Garfield to be in top form, or something close to it once we reach the mansion, we can only rationalize this as a necessary measure. Subaru, I get the logic. You know, from an outside perspective this looks like us speeding as fast as we can to shake off some guy trying to get in the carriage. When what's actually happening is we threw a 14-year-old out of the carriage to drag him along the ground while zooming at top speed. Otto, you do realize how preposterous both those perspectives sound when you use that phrasing. Otto, handling the reins, probably wants to avoid giving that first impression. But the two dragons tirelessly pulling the carriage, Patrash and Frofu, pay little heed to the coachman's intentions and just run ceaselessly. This is all more or less why Garfield is using this mock acrobatic means of locomotion. Amelia's magic did heal his serious wounds back in Sanctuary, but that did not replenish his lost blood or mana. The travel distance between Sanctuary and the mansion is about half a day's worth. Even if they have the dragons sprinting well, how much time can Subaru and the others really spend on recuperating? Nothing has changed about Garfield, with his EARTHSOUL blessing amassing power from the ground, being their ace. Subaru and Otto are only there to arrange a setting where he can fight at his best. Garfield, but anyway, why stop talking halfway, Captain? Subaru, huh? Garfield, thing we were talking about. We gotta save 4 people, and we only got 3. I ain't heard about this last person. Who's she off bein'? Pulling himself up, Garfield peeks into the carriage. He gives Otto a questioning gaze as well, but Otto just shakes his head and shrugs. Otto, I'm afraid that I haven't encountered this final person either. I was in the mansion for approximately a week, but I never even saw her in passing. Garfield, you ain't even seen her face and she hates you so much she don't want to see you. You're gonna be okay, guy? Otto, I would like to think that that is not the reason I've failed to see her. Otto frantically voices his objection while Garfield watches on with pity. Subaru strikes his fist against the seat and sighs. Subaru, the last one. Beatrice probably won't come out unless it's me. Otto and Garfield shut their mouths as they look at Subaru. The seriousness in his voice probably meant they believe him, even without asking why. Truly reassuring companions. Subaru, I'm taking Beatrice out of there. Dragging her out of there. I need to do it. Nobody else. Subaru has to be the one. Even if Beatrice puts on a show, acting like she doesn't want it. Garfield, if that's what you say then that's what it is, Captain. Otto, if possible, I think we should evacuate the nearby villagers in Arlem as well. It will avoid some chaos. How about I do it? The two each show their support for Subaru's decision. Subaru has his role. And they have theirs. Truly, entirely, dependable people. Subaru, thank you, idiots. Otto, he's incapable of giving an honest thanks, the idiot. The battle escalated entirely, spreading destruction across the luxurious mansion. Steel clashes against steel, shrieking metal comes with showers of sparks, the blows and slashes destroying the mundane life of the moonlit Roswell mansion. The window pane shatters and the shards of glass scatter. Damage to the floor sends the carpet flying, while paintings hanging on the wall splinter to fragments. Woman, wonderful. You're excellent. Garfield, it don't make me happy to hear that from anyone except Ram. Garfield launches his shielded right arm, jabbing past the woman as she dodges aside, for the strike to slam into the wall. He pursues her in her escape, using the momentum from his right arm to pivot in the air and strike her backhanded with his left. Woman, bad luck. Garfield, it ain't over yet. The woman dodges. But before she can swing her blade, Garfield wrenches his body again to dislodge his right arm from the wall, sending a strike hurtling for her. The woman aborts her downward slash to raise her arm, using the kickback to flip backward through the air. The instant that Garfield's blow skirts past the woman's feet, the room ruptures. Backhand blow to the left. Punch to the right. Sweep leg back and to the left. Jab to the right. Pivot and kick to the left. Striking blow after blow as he spins, Garfield offers no leniency in his pursuit of the woman. She has no room to do anything except avoid Garfield's assault, and sensing that her feet have reached the end of the corridor, Garfield raises his head. Garfield, you're done. Stepping forward, Garfield unleashes his fists. The punches drill through the air, silver reflections of moonlight shooting through the dark corridor in violent pursuit of the woman. These are the arms of a beast, so powerful that they will assuredly turn a human body into gore. With her back to the wall, the woman flicks up her leg to place the sole of her right foot against the wall also. She determines her aim to counter the incoming punches, jabbing out her dagger, so that Garfield will impale himself on its blade. Metal clashes against metal as the knife is caught between the shields. However, Garfield, like that trick's gonna work. Her plan must have been to slip her dagger between the shields and stick Garfield with her knife in his charge. But Garfield's muscles are not so weak that any woman's skinny arms will accomplish anything. With the Corkery's point still between the shields, Garfield twists aside to snap the dagger apart. But before he does, woman, then what if I add another trick? With her wall-set foot as the pivot, the woman flips upwards. Instantly, the woman's foot strikes the handle of her trapped knife, opening a slight gap between the shields. And into that opening, woman, here's the real thing. Garfield. Now entirely inverted, the woman holds yet another knife in her other, left hand. This is her third ominous-looking kukri. Just how many is she hiding on her? The thin knife easily slips into the gap between the dagger and shields. The deadly blade does not even whistle through the air as it pressed forward, aiming to slice Garfield's neck. Even if he transforms this second, the strike will hit the most lethal of spots. But Garfield chooses a fiendish way to counter the blade. Woman, incredible. Garfield, yes sir, prahies ain't gonna make me happy. The woman whispers, enraptured. Garfield spears his head forward. His sharp fangs literally bite the woman's left blade to a stop. Blood drips from the shallow cuts at the corners of mouth, and the knife's metallic stench pierces his nostrils. Garfield, fucking stinks. Putting force into his jaw, Garfield snaps the knife to bits. He spits out the shattered fragments as he swings his clawed foot up to strike the yet inverted woman from below. The force of the kick will burst her skull apart. To counter it, she sacrifices her arm. A wet cloth sounds to have slapped against the wall as pure scarlet splatters over the hallway. Garfield uses his sleeve to wipe the blood from his face, and gives a deep sigh out his nose as he glances back. Several meters away, having escaped the dead end, stands the woman. But with many bones broken from her wrist to her shoulder, her left arm hangs crooked and twisted. Garfield, pretty fucking good to get away by losing only an arm. Crap, mouth hurts. Woman, hoo-hoo, thank you. Ah, it hurts. It truly does. I feel alive. Garfield? Ain't just cutting others, you're like getting cut yourself too? Now that ain't something my amazing self can understand. Not that I was thinking to make understanding with you at all. The woman drips blood as she smiles splendidly, bringing about visceral disgust in Garfield. He batters his shields together and notices there, behind the woman, Garfield, "Hey sis. Fuckery you still doin' over there? Like you just saw, not feelin' like I can show you me bein' cool whole time. Get off doin' what you have be doin'. Frederica, I indeed. I shall. Frederica had not actually been watching in silence, but had been petrified and unable to move. That was how extra-dimensional the fight between Garfield and the woman was. If Frederica had gotten involved in this battle, she would swiftly withdraw after the first few blows. These two are just that superior. Frederica keeps her attention on the woman's back as she glances at her destination Rem's sleeping room. It's only a few meters away, and she is much closer to the room than the woman is, but she cannot envision herself reaching its door before her. If she could at least reach the room, she could shoulder REM and escape out the inside window. Woman, you don't need to be so guarded, older sister. Frederica, huh? Woman, right now, I am stricken with your little brother. It doesn't bother me what business you have in whatever room, or what you're going to do there. None of my interest is devoted to that. Frederica. The woman does not even glance back as she assures Frederica her safety. She probably isn't lying. She doesn't seem like the kind of person to trick the enemy in this manner, and she doesn't need to either. Above all, anyone listening would hear the sincerity in her words. Right now, all of her attention is devoted to Garfield. She truly could not give less of a care about Frederica. But the woman emits an aura so dreadful that it could encapsulate the whole mansion. A pungent, violent bloodlust, which make her initial foreboding air look like a child's joke. Garfield, sis. Frederica, I believe in you. Frederica swims through the corridor, drowning in the woman's ghastliness as it is, to reach her destined room. After glancing at Garfield one last time, Frederica slips into the room. Witnessing this, Garfield gives a deep sigh. Garfield, you're so unruffled that you can overlook sis, ain't what's happening here. Woman, do I look like enough a cheater that I can stay unruffled when faced with such a wonderful partner? Right now, I am only for you. I can't bear it. Both radiant allure and blood iron horror coexist in this grisly woman. She smiles. Bathed in her fiery, passionate gaze, Garfield spreads his stance and stoops his body low. Garfield, honestly, it's just fucking gross. I'm ripping you apart, mangling your T-shreds. Woman, I promise to extract your guts without hurting them too. Her left arm still dangling, the woman's healthy right arm readies her knife. She stoops down so low that her breasts could touch the floor. Woman, I am the Guthunder, Elsa Granhiert. Garfield, the strongest of shields, Garfield Tinsel. The instant that the introductions are over, Elsa moves. Elsa's smile phases into blank darkness as she sprints, so swift that she gives no impression of being wounded. The instant that Garfield hears the first footstep, out peals the noise of pounding against the walls, again and again and again, from every direction. Elsa kicks off the floor, off the walls, off the ceiling as she closes in on Garfield. She moves so fast that he cannot focus his aim, and moves like no creature he has seen before. Something approaching with these nightmarish movements was no humanoid nor beast. And the most surprising thing is, she's obviously faster now than she was before being wounded. Garfield, entertainin'. Garfield bares his fangs, laughs, and moves. If the enemy is using tricky movements to approach, then Garfield will counter by doing the same. He puts his hands and feet to the floor. And off his rear foot, explodes. Garfield, a human-sized bullet, shoots down the mansion's corridor. He positions his shields before him, his charge as ferocious as a tiger's with a shockwave that blasts away the shattered window glass and fragments of wall.